do three things. So it starts by sensing. So this could be anything. It could have a camera on it. It could have a sensor on it that can tell whether something's dark or light. It can tell whether it's touching into a wall or whether it's not. So it senses its environment around it. And then it uses this information to think. So after it senses what's around it, what it's doing, it thinks. And this is kind of the code that everybody was talking about. This is kind of the programming aspect. So within that code, it's thinking about what are my next steps now that I know what my environment is like. And then after that, it acts. So it actually carries out some sort of task now that it knows what it wants to do. And so this is kind of the definition of a robot that I was taught when I first learned about robotics. But by this definition, a robot could be really anything. It could be the automatic sink in the bathroom, right? It's sensing that your hands are there. It can tell how far away your hands are. It's thinking about what it needs to do next, and then it's acting by giving you some water. So this is kind of a cool definition of robots, I think. Okay, so now I'm just going to take you through kind of my timeline of how I got interested in robotics and where I am now. Has anybody seen this before? Yeah, a couple of people? Okay. So when I was 8, so this is about 10 years ago, I was watching TV with my parents, and there was a girl from MIT on Good Morning America showing her robot alarm clock, and its name was Clocky. And I thought this was the coolest thing because I have trouble getting out of bed in the morning. And so I thought, hey, this would be a cool thing for me to have. And so I was like, oh, that's funny, you know, it would be nice to get me out of bed. But I didn't really realize that this was kind of the first thing that would get me interested in robotics. This was kind of the first thing that I had in my mind when I thought about robots. To be honest with you, I never watched Star Wars, so that was never really where I got my ideas of robots. This is actually where I got my first idea of what a cool robot was. So then from there, later that year, my parents got me a Lego Mindstorms kit, and I started doing this on my own. So NXT had this really cool block code, so you could just kind of drag blocks to tell your program, to tell your robot to do certain things. So this particular code is using the inputs from a light sensor. So if it senses black, it should do the stuff on the bottom. And if the light is sensing white, it should do the stuff on the top. And then it loops forever. So this, I think, is a line following program. So it turns one way or the other in order to stay on a black line. So this is not entirely robotics related, but this was a big part of my middle school experience. I did a lot of work with the Girls Math and Science Partnership, and they are housed in the Carnegie Science Center now, and I did a lot of really cool programs with them. My favorite was CLICK, which was a program, a summer camp, that allowed girls to solve mysteries related to science. And they had these 6 different agents, and everybody in your group was assigned a different agent, and you kind of had a different role on the team. So my favorite agent to be assigned was the pink one. Her name was Flamingo, and she was kind of the computer tech expert. So that was right up my alley, so I loved being her. But yeah, if you have any young girls, I really encourage you to look into the Girls Math and Science Partnership because they have some really great programs. I am on a high school all-girls robotics team called the Girls of Steel. And we kind of took this Rosie image, gave her a robotic arm, and made her our own mascot. So that's why Rosie is so important to us. Our team uniform is based off of her outfit. So we wear the bandanas, we have blue shirts, and that's kind of how everybody knows us, is that we're the Rosie girls. You know, we have the bandanas and the polka dots. So I joined the Girls of Steel my first year of high school, so my freshman year. It was actually the first year that the team was in existence. So the team was started at CMU, and we started with about 25 girls, but there were about 15 who were really dedicated to the team. This is a team picture that we took at the National Championships in St. Louis. So we won an award called the Rookie All-Star Award that allowed us to go to championships and participate in this really awesome event. But this is one of my favorite pictures. This was our mini bot. So one of the parts of our challenge that year was to create this little robot that would deploy off of our big robot and climb a 10-foot pole. And when it hit the top, those lights would turn green. And I love this picture because, as you can see, one of the wheels is missing, the metal is kind of bent in a funky way, and this was kind of our first year of having experience with robotics for all of the girls on the team. And especially for me, I was on the mini-bot team, so this was like my baby. And it's kind of funny looking back now because now we're building really complex, awesome robots. And here we have a little mini-bot missing a wheel. So it's really cool to see, it's really cool to see how far we've come. Okay, so the summer after I started this, so the summer after my freshman year, I went and did a program at the University of Pennsylvania called the Summer Academy in Applied Sciences and Technology. And they had different programs for different areas in science and technology. So they did have a specific robotics program, and that's the one I participated in. So that is a picture of the 3D model of the robot that I created for the challenge. So we had a challenge to create a search and rescue bot that would go detect these little, they were just little cylinders, and would collect them and rescue them from the mine, right? And so we kind of created this hopper-like thing where it could just roll the cylinders right into it. And this is kind of all the different pieces of the robot that we ended up putting together. You can see how they're all going to fit together like this. And then you can have them all cut individually by this really cool, expensive piece of machinery. So that was a really, really cool experience for me, and it kind of was my first experience building a robot on my own. So I built the robot, I wired it, and I programmed it all on my own. And that was a lot of fun, and it was challenging, but it was one of the best experiences I had to kind of assure me that I was able to do this. So the summer after that, I interned at a company that is a spin-out company of CMU, Carnegie Mellon, and they are called Astrobotic. So while I was at Astrobotic, they were working on a rover kind of like Curiosity. They weren't working on a Mars rover, but they were working on a lunar rover, which is the one on the bottom. And this was really cool for me. I had always wanted to be an astronaut when I was younger, so when I realized that they were kind of combining space and robotics into this one thing called planetary robotics, I was like, this is so awesome. It was a marketing internship, so I was doing more presentations to younger students, explaining kind of how the robots worked and that kind of thing. Unfortunately, I didn't have enough experience to actually get my hands dirty in the robot, but I got to be right there with them, kind of observing everything that they were doing, and it was a really, really awesome experience for me. So this guy's name is Red Rover, and they're creating this lunar lander and this rover to go to the moon. They're set to launch in 2015, so that's next year, and they've been working on this for a number of years now. And it's really exciting. It's part of the Google Lunar X Prize to see who can get to the moon first and perform a set of challenges. So, okay. So I wanted to get back to talking about FIRST robotics to you. So FIRST stands for recognition or inspiration and recognition of science and technology. A little over 20 years ago, by a guy named Dean Kamen. He's the inventor of the Segway, and he also invented some very important medical instruments and automatic wheelchairs, all this really cool stuff that his company is doing and that he has designed himself. So he's a really cool guy, and over 20 years ago he decided that he wanted to make a program to get students interested in math and science. So he created FIRST. Now I'm going to show you a video in just a minute. So I'm part of the FIRST robotics competition. So we make these big 120-pound robots to complete a different challenge every year. And this particular year, it was basketball. So we built a robot named Watson, and he was able to shoot basketballs into the hoops that you can see over there. And then there were these bridges where you could have your robots try to balance on the bridge at the end of the game. So it had to kind of push it down and then get onto it so that it could balance at the end of the game. So this is one of the matches that my team was participated in. So we're 3504, so that's the robot you should keep your eye on. We have the little red hood there. So I'm going to go ahead and show you. Obviously we weren't able to balance at the end of that one, but our robot was able to balance a couple of other times. But I'll just point out a couple of cool things about this game and about this robot that I really liked. So, as you can see, 2 robots were trying to get onto the bridge that we were on, right? So, up to 3 robots could balance on those bridges. It was a really tight fit, and it was really hard to get 3 robots on there, but teams did it, and it was really, really cool to see. So, there's a red alliance and a blue alliance, and there's 3 robots on each alliance. And kind of each match, you get put on a different alliance, so you're never going to play with the same alliance twice. Unless you, later on, you can choose your alliance once you get into the later rounds and you're going to the finals. But there's also a white bridge in the middle for robots of both alliances to balance on, and you get extra points for working together with your opposing alliance. So one thing that's really cool about FIRST is they're all about these things they call gracious professionalism and cooperation. So it's kind of having fun, being competitive, but being cooperative and working with other people. You never know if somebody you're opposing is going to be on your alliance in the next match. So you always want to be gracious. We've had instances where a robot breaks, it fell off the bridge a couple times this season, and it was really, really stressful for us. And we had other teams rushing to our area to come help us fix our robot, and it was really, really nice to see that there was this kind of sense of family at this competition, and it's a huge competition. The Pittsburgh Regional was held at the Peterson Event Center at Pitt for a couple years on the basketball court. So half of it was the field, and the other half was space for teams to fix their robots in between matches. So it's a really big event, and the nationals, or internationals in St. Louis, are held at the Edward Jones Dome, which is huge, and it's such a huge event, and it's really, really exciting to be there. You might have noticed that the red top on our robot Watson was always spinning. I don't know if you noticed that, but that's because we had a camera on the front of Watson, and our programmers wrote some code so that his front would always be facing those basketball hoops. So there was some reflective tape around the basketball hoops, and it was on a turret, so it was always spinning to be facing those hoops. So technically we could shoot from anywhere on the field. And the judges loved that. They thought it was really cool. We won an award for that. It was something that was really unique to our team. And that was really exciting for our programmers who worked really hard on that. And the last one is Eve. So Eve was our most unique robot, and the base, or the chassis, was shaped like a triangle. And that might sound kind of weird to you, but it had 3 wheels on the bottom, 1 on each corner of the triangle, and this allowed it to just kind of move however it wanted. It could just turn and move forward and move backwards, and do whatever. The problem with that is that it makes it really easy to push Eve. So as Eve is moving wherever it wants around the field, somebody could easily come and just knock her out of her path, which was kind of unfortunate. But Eve was a frisbee shooting robot, which was last year's game, and that was pretty cool. And this is her climbing up onto the pyramid. So there were teams, you can't see it in this picture, but the pyramid was 3 tiers high, and there were teams whose robot got all the way to the top, to that 3rd tier, and it was really, really cool to see. So something else that's really cool about the FIRST Robotics competition is that it allows you to gain skills in many different areas. So we have programmers, we have girls who work on electronics, we have girls who are mechanical girls, and these girls are welding, which is really cool. It's not something that a lot of people get to learn in high school, and so we do learn a lot of different things. We also learn a lot about kind of the business side of things, how to fundraise, how to present your team in the best way possible. So our team is really run like a small business. We have a product that we're selling, which is our robot and our team, and we kind of have to figure out the best way to sell that to the judges, to other teams who might want us on their alliance, and to sponsors in order to get money. And this last picture is me hugging Dean Kamen, who's the founder of FIRST. And this was a really exciting moment for me. So I was named as a Dean's List winner. I was one of 10 students internationally named this award at the international competition last year. And it was really exciting for me because kind of all my hard work had paid off, and I was being recognized as a student leader, as someone with expertise in both the technical and the business side of things, and as someone who was, a role model to other students in the FIRST robotics competition and in younger levels. So that was really exciting for me. And something that's really cool about FIRST is that they have support from some really cool people. So our first year of being a team, we went to the national championships, and it was the 20th anniversary of FIRST as an organization. So during, this was the same year that the Black Eyed Peas were playing the halftime show. They played a concert for us at the FIRST Robotics Championship, and it was really, really cool. And all the students were there, and it was packed, and it was really exciting. We had the CEO of Coca-Cola was there. A lot of really cool and important people are supporters of FIRST, and that's really, really awesome because they're kind of getting the word out about FIRST, and it's becoming this huge thing. So FIRST has kind of a family of programs is what they call it, and I participate in the FIRST robotics competition, which is for high school students, 9 through 12. There's another competition for high schoolers called FTC FIRST Tech Challenge. That's also for 9 through 12, but it's on a little bit of a smaller scale. They don't build the 120-pound robots, they're much smaller. And a level below that is the FIRST LEGO League, and this is for students ages around 9 to 14. So this is about middle school age. A lot of you are probably within that age range. And this is the first LEGO League team that I mentor. This was after they won an award last year. So FIRST LEGO League is a really cool program, and they use those LEGO robots to go complete the challenges, kind of like we do in FIRST robotics competition. So FIRST LEGO League is a really exciting program. They have these 3 things that they're really kind of emphasizing. So there's the teamwork, the robot game, and the robot design. And then also, there's a research project element to it. So this year, the game was called Nature's Fury, and they had to research about natural disasters and kind of what impact those have on communities. So my team chose to talk about wildfires, and they did a lot of research about it. They put together a really great presentation. So now they're going to the Pittsburgh Championship, which is on my birthday actually, so I'm really excited to spend that with them. So FIRST LEGO League is a really, really awesome program, and it's very easy to start. You just need to have an adult who's interested and invested in the team, and you can start it with a little bit of money and just kind of a lot of willpower to do it. So I'm hoping that maybe some of you here would be interested in starting a team, and I'm definitely here to help you guys start it out if anybody here is interested and wants to talk to me about that. As was mentioned, I'm off to Yale next year, and I'm really, really excited about that. I plan on majoring in mechanical engineering, and a lot of people ask me, isn't robotics more programming? And so that I say robotics is a mixture of a lot of things, which is why I love it. So there's kind of the mechanical aspect, the electrical aspect, and the programming. And I'm hoping to do all of those when I get to college. But I've been on a mechanical team, so getting that experience has really kind of opened my eyes to the cool things I can be doing. I'm trained on a lot of machines that CMU students don't get trained on until their sophomore or junior year of college. With that said, I just wanted to get back to this. So now that you've heard about all of my experience with robotics, I'm sure it makes more sense why people see me as the robot girl, because that's my passion and that's kind of what I do every day and that's what I love, and I talk about it all the time. I'm sure people get sick of it. But I just wanted to say, I think I see a lot of students who get kind of discouraged by the idea of being labeled, nerdy or geeky, and they don't want to be that, that person who's interested in math and science because of that. And I hope that that doesn't discourage any of you because it's really cool, and it doesn't have to be a negative thing. And I've kind of loved growing into this title as the Robot Girl because it's not the only thing that defines me, but it's kind of, I love being called, I love that people acknowledge that this is my passion, this is kind of what I want to do with my life. So, thank you for listening, and now my dad and I will be available to answer any questions if you have them.
It's great to see a role model here in front of us of what can be. And so again, thank you so much. On behalf of the intermediate school in Brooke, we have a nice little take bag for you. But we really do appreciate you coming here and starting us off. Thank you so much.